What's up, guys? Basecamp coming at you with just a quick kit breakdown for me. My name's Dalton. Uh, we'll go over the weapons first. You can see I'm clear, empty. This is a SIG MCX Virtus. It's the Gen 2 MCX. I love this rifle a lot. It's a 16-inch. Comes with Magpul furniture. I left most of it stock. I do have a Geisley trigger in here, a DFCO Kung Fu grip, as well as a Monstrum mini foregrip on the front. I run the Romeo 4 and a Juliet 3 micro Surefire Scout Light with a pressure pad on the front and some Magpul front grips. I really don't want to mess with your rifle too much. You start messing with it too much, it will malfunction on you a little bit. This is a Lancer long strap. It's repositionable. I like it a lot. Beautiful rifle. And for my sidearm, another SIG, go figure, SIG P320 AXG Pro, drop safe. It is the SIG X, I believe. It's one of their newer red dots. I like it a lot. Smaller window, but it's very, very good with a Surefire X300 Turbo. I run the 21 round mags, but I just wanted to keep it empty and safe for now. I like this handgun a lot. I prefer aluminum grip, so that's what I went with for this. So the SIG Virtus. It is a different gas system from your AR. It is lended to having less recoil due to the lighter bolt carrier group, which is actually true, but it could also lend to the fact that this gun is so much heavier than your standard AR. It's a big, bulky, monolithic rail on the front. I really enjoy that. It's good for keeping things zeroed. It is heavier. If you don't have big hands, you're probably not gonna like it that much. This is an expensive gun. This gun is not necessary to defend yourself. You don't have to buy a $2,500 rifle. You can get quality products for sub $1,000 and you will be just fine. But I'm a SIG fanboy. I'm an MCX fanboy. Folding stock. The original trigger is really, really good. I had no quarrels with it, but you cannot beat Geisley. That is the only thing I changed on this rifle internally. Beyond that, everything is perfect. This is sort of my general purpose pistol. Thank you, ATF. This is an 11.5 Sig Sauer M400 pistol. You can see the brace. It's compliant, guys. I sort of went for a Mark 18 inspired build, but I am not willing to run a 10.3 or a 10.5 barrel. So 11.5 is as low as I'm willing to go. I have a Q Trash Panda on here. This is the Somo Gear, very cheap IR laser. I got it used on eBay for like 250 bucks. It works fine. It stays zeroed. This is a KE2C light. It's sort of modeled after a Surefire Scout light. Dual pressure pad to go to both of my things up front. SIG Romeo and Juliet sitting on Unity mounts. Pricey, but very, very useful. And God, you cannot beat that aesthetic. I went for a higher mount just in case I need to use this with night vision, but also I don't want to have to bring my face to my gun. I want my optic to come to my eye. And I think this really needs to catch on. A lot of people need to sort of invest in something like this. You will notice a difference. It's very, very nice. I also run a DFCO Kung Fu grip because I just love them. The aesthetics are perfect and I love a straighter grip anyway. This is the stock SIG trigger and a Magpul bad lever because I like to ambi drop my bolt. Monstrum tactical quad rail and Brownell's 25 round mag with a Magpul lower plate. And what do we have here? Tridex. Really love these padded slings. If you've shot for a long time and slung a rifle, it will pull on your shoulder. Padded slings are the way to go. And for my concealed carry, this is my EDC right here. This is another P320. This is the X5, not the Legion, just the standard X5. This gun is drop safe. I've dropped it, believe me. This is a very full-size gun. It's actually a 5-inch barrel. And if you've ever carried a full-size handgun in your EDC, you know that it's cumbersome. It's not that comfortable. And you might wonder why someone would do that. Well, I've carried a smaller gun, such as a Glock 43 before, and it was much more comfortable. But in situations where I've trained, I found that my shooting suffered so much. And the shooting aspect of concealed carry, you may never do. There's a 0.001% chance you will draw that firearm and use it. But in my personal opinion, that 0.001% chance is more important than the 99.99% chance that you won't. So I can shoot this gun very, very well. I'm comfortable with it. I've put thousands of rounds through it, and I will get used to carrying it. It is the Browers M1811 laser engraved frame. It gives it more of a 1911 style feel in your hands, which you can't beat that. I run the SIG Romeo 1 and a Surefire X300U. Run a light on your gun. You don't have to run a dot, but you should run a light. I'm a huge advocate of that. It doesn't have to be a $400 Surefire light. It can be a stream light. It can be a cheaper light of any variety. But I am a firm believer you need a light on your gun. Since this is an X5, there's not a lot of inside the waistband holsters that can be found. So a buddy of mine 3D printed one for me, modeled after something on eBay, but it's pretty high quality. It works really well. It sits very low on my waist, which you kind of have to have when you're carrying a 5-inch barrel on a full-size handgun. It feels really good, and that's that. Moving on to my plate carrier. This is the Emerson gear. It is it's like a really cheap placard, but it just gives me everything I need. I run level 3 plates in here, 3 mag pouch on the front with the additional 20 rounder on the front of that. I just try to keep it as minimal as possible. I have an unbranded radio. All these pouches are either Condor or Emerson. Cheaper brand, but none of these have malfunction, no tears, no frays. They're doing exactly what I need them to do. On the back, I run a flashbang pouch with no flashbangs, of course. I keep just various things in here, extra ammo, an extra mag loaders, things of that nature. I only carry one side pouch, and that's for night activities, glow sticks. That's really all I carry. On the front, Sharpie, because we never have one, and another 20 round mag and some gauze, apparently. Keep it really simple, don't want to overdo it. Plus, what are the odds that I'm going to be fighting in a plate carrier kit? For my battle belt, this is a Condor slim battle belt. I run the Alien Gear holster. This will fit all P320s from the X5 all the way down to the M18 if that's what you want. This is an Ozark Trail Walmart knife. Really, really reliable, believe it or not, $20. Sometimes it doesn't have to be expensive to be reliable. My medical pouch is an IFAK from Dark Angel Tactical, I believe is their name. They sell slightly more expensive, but very quality products in here. I'm not going to go over everything in there. It's IFAK. We got a tourniquet, we got some gauze, things of that nature. On the side, I run one AR mag pouch with an insert and 2 21 round mag inserts. I keep a carabiner for my gloves, and that is really all I run.
Piggybacking off of Dalton, giving you guys a quick breakdown of my gear. We'll start off, I'm just running cheap standard PS15 from Palmetto State Armory. I don't actually remember, I think this is actually a PSA handguard. Mag pull, forward angle grip, pretty standard. Mag pull, adjustable sling, super cheap. There's a trend amongst all my gear that you guys have seen that I love cheap options. Currently running the Holosun HS10 red dot and the HM 3x magnifier. I've been putting this thing through just the absolute ringer, and it's treated me really well. I think we had one range day where I was having a lot of jams and a lot of malfunctions, and that was totally my fault for not properly cleaning and lubing my rifle before range day. But it's treated me really, really well. Other than that, it's completely stock. I haven't really done too much to it. I've put a lot of my time, money, and effort into other pieces of kit that I've deemed more essential because they have become more essential for work purposes. And I'll get into that in just a second. As far as my everyday carry, I'm running the Glock 43X, no mag, clear. And this is the Hollow Sun SCS. Just put this on yesterday. We just ran it through a bunch of rounds, and it's been treating me really well. It's factory zeroed. I put it on yesterday. I didn't feel like taking the time to really dial it in today, so it is what it is. Today is the first range day where I'm running the new to me, the Safariland Incog IWB. This is set up specifically for this footprint and Streamlight TLR7, which is currently in the mail coming to me, but not on the gun yet. And then the fun stuff. So to start off with the plate carriers, this is the Spartan Armor Systems Conceal Slick Down. I think it's actually called the CL carrier. Super simple, super cheap setup. It's like 80 bucks. I found really, really great success. I've worn this for 14 hours straight with 3A soft core plates in, working overtime with the fire department, wearing it underneath clothing, underneath other types of gear. I've had a lot of love for it and ran a lot of rounds through it. It's got a couple of built-in pouches on the elastic cummerbund. Nothing crazy, super simple. And the 3A soft core plates that I have in here are Spartan Armor System as well. As far as the big boy, this is the Armored Republic Gen 3 Testudo. They're not currently in here, but I do normally run this with 550 steel plates and ballistic trauma pads. Some interesting things about this, I sort of similarly to Taylor, I have a lot of my stuff set up more so for medical aid. So I'm running 511 mag pouches on the front simply because I get sketchy about ordering stuff online if I can't put my hands on it. I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but I can physically go to a 511 store right down the street from the house. So it is what it is. Also, I actually like the kangaroo pouch setup. I currently just have a bunch of random stuff in here right now, but they do have an insert that I do have and I do run occasionally, so that it will hold 3 AR mags. And then just 511 gloves. I actually use, I don't know what you'd actually call this, maybe Taylor knows, but this is the same type of glove holder that we use on the fire department to hold our fire gloves. I just dangle it from here or off my belt. 511 dangle pouch. I use this as primary medical, so I have this loaded down with more medical gear than necessarily like an IFAC. So a lot of gauze, hemostatic agents, tourniquet on the bottom, chest seals, triangular bandaging. I have way more medical gear than I will ever need on this thing. Just because in our roles, Taylor and I kind of are the designated medical guys. Similarly, same thing with the back panel. This is a Spartan Armor Systems back panel. It's like 60 bucks and it's fine. I also like it because it has backpack straps, so you can actually undo the molly and run this as just a little mini backpack if you wanted to. And you can also run it over or under my slick down carrier. And then the obligatory anime waifu glow-in-the-dark morale patch. I have this loaded down with a bunch of other larger pieces of medical gear, SAM splints, airway, stuff like that. I can run extra mags in here pretty simply. It has space for hydration pouch. Trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I didn't cover, I do run a dump pouch on the side just for the convenience of range days. Most of the time I'll just put trail mix or gummy bears in there. And then I do run a secondary tourniquet TQ holder with a Sharpie on the side. I don't run a battle belt. I run a fixed blade Winchester, I think it's called the Winchester 300. It's an old school skinning knife. It's really more so for like skinning animals, but I like it because it has a really good hand feel and a wooden handle. And then just a solid core belt. And then for helmet systems, I'm just running the Hardhead Veterans ATE bump. We have fire department issued ballistic helmets now that go with our fire department issued ballistic vest, which are all 3A softcore. So just for running around on the range or riding around on the four-wheeler and goofing off, this is perfectly fine. Quick little EDC coverage. This backpack goes with me everywhere. Uh, it's a 511. Again, it's 511, whatever, but it was free because the fire department paid for it for me. So that was nice. But this goes everywhere with me. I run a master lock on my Molly with the key inside here, just in case I need to secure something with a locking mechanism. I run an extra mag, an extra holster, just in case I need to swap this around so that I can wear it outside the belt, or if I somehow lose and or forget my Safariland. Extra mechanics gloves, Sani hands, power bank, extra medical gloves, and then this is a 1,000-pound rated auto lock carabiner. Um, I don't know if we ever showed that footage, but we've actually used this specific carabiner to do buddy drags by hooking into plate carriers and then hooking it into our own belt systems in order to drag a fallen ally. It's just nice to have just in case. Top pocket, multi-tool, Zens, uh, knife sharpener, top pocket, extra headlamp, extra hat light, clip-on hat light, and a cheap little 3X monocular. I like having that for when I'm riding around on the farm. I can use it to look at deer or turkey if I don't have a set of binoculars on me. On the inside, just like little random accoutrements, I always have liquid IVs with me everywhere I go. Cigar cutter, lighter, micro pads, cords. In mine, I run, and I stole this from the guys on Dirty Civilian. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's the guy from Bear Solutions. He took a North American Rescue Mega Mover and cut out the liner. So this is basically just a series of spider straps that you can use to do a buddy drag. Vital assessment kit. I believe Taylor runs the same thing. So stethoscope, Narcan, notebook for taking down patient information, pulse ox, extra gauze, and a set of shears. And then this is just a boo-boo kit and some dude wipes and high-powered magnetic LED. And then this backpack, I also run a single 3A soft core plate in the back of this pack. And that goes with me everywhere, every day.
All right, guys, I'm Harrison. So my kit's a little bit different. Knight and Taylor are completely oriented towards medical. Dalton tends to just kind of be a badass. I'm below all that. So I don't run a plate carrier. I actually just am a battle belt guy. It's likely that if something were to ever go down, it's just me with my pistol. So while I do have a very kitted out battle belt, I do have the mindset that that is essentially just for training. You know, it's next to my bed, so if there's a bump in the night and I want a rifle, then yeah, I can throw on the belt. But it tends to either live next to my bed or in my car, and the reason it lives in my car is mostly for medical. So I've got a bunch of medical on here. The two styles of tourniquet I have on here, this main one from Fieldcraft is a cat tourniquet, and then over here on my actual IFAK, I have a rat tourniquet. This IFAK is from My Medic. It's the Stop the Bleed kit. My wife and I get each other My Medic stuff for birthdays and Christmas. It's a phenomenal company, but a lot of the nurses, first responders, wilderness survival people that I know, they do really like My Medic. Moving over to talk about the holster. So I'm running an Alien Gear holster. It was between Alien Gear and Safariland because the pistol I'm running is the FN 509. And I, you know, had to be non-typical and go with something that's not a Glock or a SIG, so it ends up being a little bit more difficult to find good holsters, which you'll notice as soon as I put an optic on my gun, I actually had to cut the holster myself. I also do really like the drop leg because if I'm driving a vehicle and I'm wearing this belt, the drop leg holster, you don't have to do that, you know, reposition and shuffle that you normally would if you have a holster on your belt when you're driving. That can be uncomfortable. Next to that, I've just got a knife. I don't know where this came from. It was Dalton's and then I stole it, but it lives on my battle belt now. And you know, I use it for opening snacks and cutting down targets off target stands, but it's always good to have a knife. The other side right here, I've got 2 mag pouches. I honestly couldn't tell you the brand of these, but they've been great. I was running 511 pistol mag pouches, but the problem I ran into with those, they're made to fit every magazine on the market, which means they don't really fit any magazine super well. So when I would run around and do drills and move quickly, these magazines would just pop out and fly everywhere. So I spent a little bit more money and I got mags that actually have tightening retention so that I can run, jump, do whatever I want, and these are not gonna come out. I am still running the 511 AR pouches. They're not the best. These sit so low past the bottom of the belt that it can be a difficult process to grab that out when it's on my body. So my plan is to upgrade these to something that sits a little bit higher up, kind of like these pistol mags. So this is my ride or die rifle. This is the Sig Spear LT. Both of my rifles, well, technically one of them's a pistol, thank you ATF. They're both Sig MCX platform. I have this, I have the Rattler. I'm currently working on building an AR just because even though I absolutely do love this ecosystem of rifle, you just need an AR. There are things I would like to do to these to be able to customize them, get different uppers that SIG just doesn't offer that in their ecosystem. You know, say you want a 16-inch 300 blackout barrel or something in just a weird little caliber that for an AR, you just go buy an upper that's cheap. And SIG is just never gonna make that in a million years. You know, same things like modifications to the bolt carrier group or anything like that. SIG loves to keep things internal. Not a lot of people make aftermarket support for the MCX platform. Is it Midwest Industry? Midwest Industries makes handguards, but apart from that, I haven't found a ton of companies that let you really get in there and customize this. That being said, I don't feel the need to customize this rifle. This runs phenomenally. I don't have a ton of rounds through this, maybe somewhere around the 2.5 to 3,000. This thing's great. You know, I'm not gonna be a FUD and say it's a tack shooter. I've shot out to 600 with this. It's a better gun than I am a shooter. So I've got a Daniel Defense foregrip on it. I have the stock muzzle brake, which I'm probably gonna do something about that here pretty soon. Moving back down, this is a, dude, I couldn't even tell you the brand of this sling. I got it from my local gun store. It works. This is my favorite sight that I own, and I own an EOTech. So this is the Vortex AMG UH1, and behind it, I've got the Vortex 6x magnifier. There are some weird settings on here where some of the brightness levels, you get a little bit of a flicker and kind of a weird refresh rate. And you know, you don't get that on the EOTech. I just love this optic. This thing is so tough. I don't know what it is, something about it, I just like using this optic more than my EOTech. The 6x magnifier, the verdict is still out. I've been running this for a year or two, and my thought going into it was, man, I already have a 3x magnifier, let me just go for a 6. I think I should have done something less than 6 because the eye relief on this is not the best. The 6x magnifier, it's good to have, but I'm gonna be honest, I hardly ever use this thing unless I am just scanning and observing, or if I'm posted up and I have support to shoot on. I don't think I would recommend this magnifier, but I already have it on my rifle, so it's staying on the rifle. One thing I love about the LT line for the MCX platform is the ambi controls I think are done really, really well. So everything you have on this side of the rifle, you have on this side of the rifle as well. I'm a huge fan of where they put the bolt release. You don't have to have a bad lever. I probably have a different opinion than Dalton. I'm not a fan of bad levers, so having just an actual bolt release on the other side of the rifle, I personally love. One thing that is not good about this rifle is this stock. This is not a cheap rifle. I don't know why this is the stock they went with. I should have swapped this out by now, I'm gonna be honest. So when you look at this rifle, like, yeah, it's a complete vibe that this thing folds. But this stock is not adjustable, and for spending as much money as you would spend on this gun, it needs to come with an adjustable stock. I don't understand SIG's obsession with these skeletonized stocks. This would go really well on my Rattler if I ever SBR'd it, but this is not great. And I should have swapped this out by now. I don't have a great reason as to why not. So let's move on. That's the best rifle I currently own. This is my favorite. So You've heard me talk about the Rattler way too much on this channel, so I'm not gonna go into it too much. It is clear and safe. I've got the Dead Air Nomad on here, which it works well with subs. I wouldn't quite call it hearing safe. I would call it hearing safe for the first 2 to 3 rounds. Maybe if you were passive aiming using night vision, you were holding it, you know, not necessarily so far up, it would be a little bit more hearing safe. This is just such a short barreled weapon. This is the older generation of Rattler, so it's only a 5.5-inch barrel. Moving back, I've got the SMS Laser HFXC. We're actually going to be testing that out for the first time tonight, so I cannot speak too well about how it performs. It seems to have been holding 0, but all I have done is zero this in, and it has been on the gun. I've used the flashlight a few times. I do really appreciate that this is a 4-in-1. It's infrared laser light and then a visible laser and light, and this is pretty cheap too. So it seems to be durable, but I really can't recommend it yet. We're going to be testing it more tonight. Up top, I've got the EOTech. It's an EOTech. It works great. You buy it once, you're sad about the price, and then you have it forever. And I do actually have this on the Unity riser. On the back, I did actually change out the brace that came from SIG because that is the worst brace that's ever been designed. So this is a pistol. This is the SBA 5 brace from SB Tactical. This is the best brace I have ever used. It's honestly a little chunky. In retrospect, I wish I'd gone with one of the smaller sizes. I believe Dalton has the SBA 3. But it still folds to the side. I just have it on a folding buffer system. And then I do have a Magpul adjustable sling on here that has been working great. This is an infinitely better gun than this. However, this is way more fun to shoot. This gun just has a soft spot in my heart. If someone tried to break into my house while my wife and I were sleeping, it would be this gun with 30 rounds of subs and the suppressor that I would respond with. This is not accurate at all. I went and zeroed this the other day with supers. I was getting like 1.5 to 2 MOA at 50 yards. So that doubles at 100. That's not great. And then the subs, I was running nice subs. Dude, the group just opened up so much. So do understand that with the Rattler, you kind of do have to view this as an SMG. We shot a video earlier today where we were shooting a bill drill. I let Taylor use my spear. I used the Rattler. It was probably the worst I've ever shot at distance because this is meant to be a 100-yard gun at most. So I love this gun. Not the best, but it's got my heart. I do typically run gloves when I shoot, definitely rifles. I'm a little bit weird. I just like to wear one on my left hand because I'm right-handed. So when I'm shooting a rifle, left hand is the one that's out, and especially with the Rattler, with the suppressor, anything that's going to be heating up on my left hand, I do just like to wear this glove. The reason I don't wear it on both hands is I do like to have one hand free that's a little bit more tactile, or if I need to like touch the screen on my phone, I can do that. I'm not trying to be a hipster or, you know, an operator by cutting off one of the fingers. My wife and I just got a puppy and he is in the teething stage. So the glove took a hit. I'll be getting some new ones soon, but you know, you work with what you've got. So the most important piece of my kit, as far as everyday carry goes, is actually my handgun. And I didn't have that on my battle belt because I actually really, really love the Arrowhead tactical stuff. So I'm wearing their joggers right now. And you know, we're not sponsored by anyone. No one gives us money at all. It would be great if they did, so thank you in advance. I've been a big fan of the Arrowhead tactical stuff. I own a couple pair of their joggers and some of their shorts, but if you're not familiar, they sponsor a lot of people on here. They just make athletic wear, casual wear that has built-in retention belts. And I will be honest, it's the most annoying thing in the world when it's time to wash those items. So when you have to go put them in the washer and dryer, you have to take that belt all the way out, unloop it. It really is the most annoying thing in the world, but as of now, it's kind of the best way to facilitate being able to carry a full-size handgun in joggers. So here's my pistol. It's clear, no mag. It's the FN 509. This gun has been great to me. I have 9,000 rounds through this. It's been giving me some weird stoppages lately. I've been training a lot recently one-handed, and no matter what ammunition I put in this gun, it would just eat it until I started shooting one-handed. And I think that is me. That's a lack of technique. I'm limp wristing the gun, and so my grip is not right, and I just get a dead trigger. But I do love this gun. I know a lot of people have problems with FN as a company. I kind of do too. The whole thing about if you put a suppressor on some of their battle rifles, they void the warranty. That sucks. They also tend to just price things a little bit more on the expensive side, but this is an excellent handgun. A lot of people describe the recoil to the 509 as snappy, and I would really agree. I think the bore axis is a little bit higher up, especially if you're used to Glocks. But I've got the Holosun 507C on here. This thing's taken a beating. I think I've had the 507C on here about half the time that I've owned the pistol, maybe a little bit less. So about 9,000 rounds through the handgun, probably 4,000 of those have been with the 507C. And yeah, it's worked. I know in a lot of our videos, we suck a lot, and that's because we've been out here all day in the sun getting sunburnt. But I have grown a lot as a shooter on this handgun. As far as holsters go, the holster that I carry every single day of my life, not to shout them out more, this is actually made by Arrowhead Tactical. So they sell holsters in addition to all of the athletic clothing, athleisure, but they actually make a holster for the 509 with an optic, which is pretty rare. There's not a lot of companies that make holsters specific to this gun with this optic. So it was pretty cool that Arrowhead Tactical did. So getting into the daily carry side of things, this is the backpack I carry every single day of my life. It's not going to be anywhere near as impressive as a Knight's backpack. I'm not a medic. I do have a tourniquet on me every day, or at the very least in my truck. My backpack is kind of geared to just be like the typical working millennial, but also be a little bit prepared. Always in the side pouch, I've got a rangefinder. It works as a monocular. I believe it's either a 2 or 3 power. Knight's saying 3 power because he owns the same one. That's just been great, even for things that aren't firearms related. When I've been out working in the wilderness and I need to know how far away something is, it's been an awesome tool. Also inside of this backpack, I always keep a spare extended magazine for my pistol. So the 509, I have 17 +1 rounds in the pistol. Then the extended mags are 24 +1. This bag is from Herbal Stock, however you want to say it. They're based in Idaho. They're super cool. They make awesome bags for hunting, everyday carry. When I ordered this, I ordered the black one. They accidentally sent me the tan one. It looks way more military, but I don't ever really return stuff. I just got it and said, okay, cool, I guess I'm going with tan, so that's what I have. There is a hidden compartment in here where you can keep a gun. I actually could disassemble my Rattler and store it in here. The suppressor makes that a bit difficult, but if the suppressor was off the Rattler, you can covert carry a PCC or a 300 Blackout small AR as long as the stock can fold in this bag. It's been great. I'm gonna have a laptop on me at all times. I'm gonna have SSDs and hard drives because after all, I do work professionally in the filmmaking space. So there's typically gonna be a smaller camera in here at all times, as well as a laptop, chargers, V-mount batteries, which are professional batteries for professional cameras, but most of them are covered in USB ports, so you can actually just throw them in your bag and charge all your devices. On the more tactical side, something that comes with me everywhere that rarely gets used. So this is the Tracer Tactical soft harness for night vision. We have a review of this coming out. It might be out before this video drops. We'll just kind of see how our release schedule goes. But this thing has been great. This harness is awesome because I don't have to bring a ballistic helmet with me in order to use night vision. I actually don't use night vision predominantly for shooting. I work in the outdoor filmmaking industry, and there are a lot. The majority of my shoots where I'm 100, 200 miles from any civilization, any lights, a lot of it is off-roading, camping, like kind of going to extreme lengths and putting ourselves in not great situations in order to get the shots we need for whatever project we're working on. So there have been a lot of situations where actually having night vision on me that I can just throw on from my backpack has been incredibly helpful to just navigate, whether it's I'm in the middle of the desert and I need to go take a poop, and so I just walk way out there with night vision and do it. Or if it's drive a $500,000 vehicle that a client owns, off-road over rocks in the dark, night vision has been really helpful for that. As far as the actual headset goes, that does always come with me, so it's wrapped in this protective beanie. But this is the AMG NVG 50 set. They're not the best tubes, but they're the ones I got. I traded a dude off Facebook Marketplace a vintage collector's edition camera for these So that's what I'm working with. They're green phosphorus. As far as being able to transport this on me at all times, it's really great. You know, the only thing I've gone through and done a little threat assessment pyramid for my life, my main worry are storms and blackouts. The area I live in, we lose power a decent bit. So my main thing that I am prepped for is I've had power go down for 2 days. Never gone down for 3, it could. But the longer the power's down, you know, people are gonna get a little bit more and more crazy. So, if, you know, hypothetically, that crazy once in a million storm does come through, that tornado does come through. We live in Tornado Alley, we get hurricanes all the time. You do want to be ready. You want to be able to see what's going on at night. You want to be able to protect yourself. So that's kind of what my kit revolves around. I'm not out here saving lives on a daily basis like the other guys are. I like my rifles a lot. I'm probably never going to have to use them. I like my handgun a lot. If God forbid something does go down, it's going to be with this 509 that is now under my backpack. But yeah, I like my kit. A lot of it's not necessary for me, honestly, but just practice with your handgun.